Hello, everybody. I just want to address one of the questions from one of my subscribers regarding doing a reading on Chris Watts' family. I'm not going to do a reading on Chris Watts' family, but I will do something. There's going to be a discussion here regarding my thoughts on this, and it comes from a point of purity. Okay, I'm no ego, but I'm also going to preface this with I do know what they're going through. I know what both families are going through, and it's horrible, and I don't want to make things worse for them. So with that being said, I want to say I have to say that this is for entertainment purposes only. What I'm saying is my opinion. With that being said, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. So I have had, he's not on this earthly realm anymore, but I had a cousin who was a serial killer. And he was a terrible, terrible monster. He was a monster, just like Chris Watts, in my opinion. He was about 15 years older than I am. And he, like, one of my first memories of this guy, and the only reason why I'm telling you this is because to kind of give you guys an idea of where I'm coming from, okay? Why I don't want to do readings on these families. So when it was before school. I was not even in school yet, before kindergarten, and this is one of my earliest memories of fear. So every Sunday, all my families would come together and visit my grandma for dinner on Sundays. And so my cousin, I found myself alone with my cousin on the front porch. And this is something I'll never forget. I'll remember this till the day I die. So I ended up being alone with him in the front porch. And out of the blue, I had no idea what was going on. He picked me up and he pinched my nose off and he covered my mouth until I was almost passing out. I saw darkness coming over me. And then he dropped me onto the porch, the front porch floor, and laughed and walked away. And that was my first memory of real fear, and that was from him. He later on, of course, like I said, he's a serial killer. So, but what I saw mainly was how it affected the family, how this monster affected everyone in my family. So I saw my aunt, and I can draw so many parallels with Cindy Watts and my aunt, but my aunt and my uncle did not see how my cousin could do these terrible things. They were mortgaging their house to the hilt, getting lawyers and legal fees, and it was awful because they just did not believe that he could do any of these things. Everybody else could see it, but they refused to see it. It was devastating. And it was there for a while. Like I said, there's so many parallels here. There for a while, I just saw like this light dim from my aunt's eyes, and she ended up dying of cancer. It just ate at her, and she refused to believe to her dying day that her son could do that. It's denial for survival. That's what my mom told me. She said, because I was like, Mom, how can she not see this? And she said she's surviving. That's how she's surviving, because if she were to admit this, it would probably kill her. And so, I mean, that was the perspective that I was given. And that's how, I mean, I was pretty young when this all happened, you know, when he was arrested and whatnot. So I would say I was, by that time, I was 18, 19 years old when all that happened with him killing and everything. So anyway, and so during that time I wrote this silly poem, and it kind of sums up everything that I kind of felt at the time, and I think it may apply to the Watts family. And I'll explain a little bit here after I read the poem, and sorry if it's long and rudimentary and all that. It's something I had written a long time ago. All right, here we go. In the darkest depths of a moonless night lies a tale of despair and strife. A pact with evil made in fervent plight, a family cursed, souls bereft of light. Amidst the shadows a desperate man did dwell, haunted by sorrow's relentless flame. His once joyous home, now a living hell, tormented by anguish, chaos, and shame. The demon appeared with a cunning smile, whispered promises of fortunes untold. In exchange for a pact promises vile, he sought an eternal soul to hold. Blinded by desperation, the man agreed, unaware of the sinister price to pay. His family's fate forever decreed, to suffer the horrors that come their way. With a night's chilling breath, a pact was sealed as fate's cruel hands began to unwind. The man's heart forever bound tightly, darkness envelops, leaving no solace behind. The sun's brilliant beams no longer bestowed upon the cursed abode a comforting glow. Laughter and joy, once cherished and showed, replaced by shadows, torment, and woe. A mother's smile faded, no more to be seen. Her eyes turned cold, devoid of love's embrace. Her gentle touch marred by a soul so unclean. Innocence tainted, a mask of glazed grace. And oh, the children, once filled with glee, now trapped in a labyrinth of despair. Their laughter silenced, their hearts' aching plea, wrapped in sorrow's shroud, gasping for air. Their world darkened, poisoned by sorrow's sting. The walls of their home echoed with cries, every moment a torment, a searing sting, as a searing pact relentless denies. Excuse me. What price would be paid for that wicked deal? The man regretful, consumed by guilt. For his foolishness, his family left to keel. In realms of darkness, forever to be split. For with each passing day, their spirits decay, the curse growing stronger, their doom absolute. A bloodline tarnished, woven in shades of gray, invisible scars forever to pursue. Now in the passage of time, whispers remain of a pact with evil, bound by fate's chains. A family destitute, their lives in disdain, haunted by consequences and eternal stains. Let this cautionary tale stand as a harrowing plea to those who trifle with demons unseen. For within an abyss, evil pact agrees. Consequences unforgiving, where happiness can never convene. Now you're wondering, what does this have to do with Chris Watts and his family? Actually, I think it has a lot to do with him. My cousin, he definitely was in the dark forces. He was definitely into darkness and not light. And that was pretty well known. So I truly believe that when Chris and Nicole Kessinger came together, and Nicole Kessinger created this thing in order to help facilitate things to happen with Shanann and the babies. There was also a pact made, a dark pact with evil. And of course, because you cannot create one of these things without doing that. And that also, what that does is, I don't want to say it's a curse, but it is kind of like a curse that kind of ends up happening with the family. Something that we had seen in my family too. Now, there was a lot of, on our side, there was a lot of healing and cleansing. It was a lot, and we ended up getting over that. But I think that it's just starting to begin with the Watts family. If they don't recognize what's going on, and they don't cleanse themselves like we had to do, from one family to another. And also the hardest thing probably ever, and I don't really see Cindy doing this, and I'm sorry, Cindy, maybe you will, I hope you do, is to acknowledge what happened and to cleanse yourself of that, because that is key. That's key in your healing. Now my aunt couldn't do that, and my aunt, just letting you know, this is my aunt. She ended up dying of cancer. It was horrible. It was a horrible death. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Cindy. I'm just saying this is what happened to my aunt. But it was something that she died a very angry, lonely person. And it was because she, in the end, she couldn't see. She didn't want to see. She could see. She didn't want to see the truth in what her son was. It killed her, is what happened. It killed her. So anyway, that is what I wanted to tell you guys. No, I will not do a reading on Cindy Watts. No, I will not do a reading on Shanann Ruzek's family. I'll do readings on Nicole, and readings on Chris, and maybe even a reading on Shanann if there's any messages that will come through from her. She is love and light. Actually, if anything, I gotta tell you, I know that she's been speaking to people on spirit boxes. She loves that stuff, and the girls too. So anyway, thanks for listening, and you guys have a good day. All right, bye-bye.